No, we got 9. Greg.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Abington Heights School Board meeting for Wednesday, November 5th. Would everyone please rise and pledge the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I please have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Oh, that's C.
No,
Oh, no.
we've got it back, it's
you
backwards
approved
in here. We should have roll call first, you're exactly right, Mrs. Chair. Roll call, please.
Mr. Abdallah,
Here.
Mr. Azar,
Here.
Mrs. Henderson,
Here.
Mrs. Hillebrand,
Here.
Mrs. Karam,
Here.
Mr. Moran, Mr. Robeson,
Here.
Mrs. Tierney,
Here.
Mr. Acker,
Here.
9 present.
You know, speaking of roll call, I'd like to congratulate the board members who recently won the re-election, although I understand Mr. Abdullah is going to be recounting your case. But congratulations to you all. Now, may I please have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Abdallah,
Yes.
Mr. Azar,
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Hillebrand,
Yes.
Mrs. Karam,
Yes.
Mr. Moran, Mr. Robeson,
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney,
Yes.
Mr. Acker,
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, Dr. Schaefer, I understand we're on tap for a presentation.
Yes, we do. Prior to the presentation, I just want to, I have it already on, right? All right. Everybody hear me okay? Yep. Perfect. Before we start, I just want to make a couple, just one announcement, well, a couple actually. We're proud of a lot of all of our student accomplishments, and I want to just make a couple announcements about athletics that are timely right now. Both our boys and girls soccer teams will be advancing on Saturday to the state quarterfinals. Fortunately, PIAA has scheduled them both at the same venue on Saturday. So this Saturday at Lehighton High School, our girls will be playing at 2 p.m., followed by the boys playing at 4 p.m. In addition, our varsity football team will be playing this Friday night at 7 for the district championship. And I also want to congratulate all of our fall athletes for a tremendous season, and particularly the ones that had just this past week performed admirably on behalf of Abington Heights, and they just did a fantastic job. So kudos to all of our student athletes for the job that they did. At this time, I'd like to ask our Director of Special Education, Ms. Noon, to come up. She's going to give us a brief presentation on an agenda item, and she's going to fill the board and the community in. Tell us a little bit about why this item is up and what we believe the benefits to be for our students.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Kaylee Noon. Nice to officially meet you. I moonlight as a cheer coach for the Junior Comets, so that's why I haven't been around until now, but here I am. I'm here today to speak a little bit about Teach Town. It's a social skills and transitional skills program for our students with special needs. When we are planning for our students' IEPs, we need to not only look at their academic performance, but their functional performance as well. So this program would really help our teachers to have a structured, scaffolded lesson plan, video models, progress monitoring, built-in goals that touches on appropriate social skills for our elementary and middle level students, and then goes into the transitional components for our high school age students. Since it's federally mandated that we begin transition planning at age 14, I think it's really crucial for us to have something structured and organized to help transition our students and make sure they're fully prepared to enter the workforce and independent life. So I've had great success with this program in my previous district. Karen actually got the ball rolling with this before I came, and I was able to jump in and carry on from here. Does anybody have any specific questions about what this might address?
Kaylee, can you give the board and the public here a couple examples of concrete examples of some words that we use that are.
Sure.
So just give us a brief rundown. What are transition skills, and can you give us the garden variety social skills? Like, what are the types of things that we are working on with our students with some
Sure.
specific special needs?
So the topics that are covered under the elementary social skills would be following rules, interpersonal skills, self-regulation and coping skills, good communication, working on friendships. It not only gives the teachers a lesson to present as a whole group, but it has individualized student computer modules so they could work at their own pace, at their own goals, whatever they are targeting. The middle school goes into building and maintaining relationships, interpersonal skills, problem solving, self-awareness, personal care, safety and community participation, and then there are other topics coming soon, like managing body odors, friendship qualities, handling peer pressures, accepting responsibilities, understanding different relationships, and understanding the perception of others, which is something a lot of our students struggle with, so we need to give them the skills to take on those. Transition skills is promoting independence, employability, community access, which our VFAC program does a wonderful job of actually implementing this, but this gives them the prerequisite skills to go out and use in the community when they are out on their community outings.
Fantastic. Any questions? All right. Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Okay. Roll call. Public comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did-
The next part of our meeting would be public comment. If anyone would like to address the board, there should be cards or paper that you can fill out. We ask that you
Yeah, you want to collect?
identify who you are, where you live, and keep your comments to about 3 minutes.
Yep, Dr. Koss will take your cards. Thanks.
Go ahead. Go ahead and do it as it go. Roll it as
Mrs.
you want.
Burge? Amy Burge?
Hi. I'm going to pull up my notes. Hi. I'm Amy Burge. I've been visiting a few times now to speak about full-day kindergarten. My daughter's in first grade. My 3-year-old will be attending sometime in the future. And as I'm attending the meetings, a couple of points that I wanted to touch on or suggest or just things that have come to my mind since thinking this through continually, right? We all know it's a big expense. We've talked about housing a few times. We all know these things are it. But I'm curious if there could be some way to share some of the ways or committees or the research that you plan on putting into this. I know that some of it has happened. I know that it can continue to happen. But is there a committee or something that can be shared with all of us so we can see some of the steps at the same time too? Also, probably an unrealistic thought, but if there was a way for parents to sign up, tell if they were interested in an official way, maybe then it would give you better numbers for the first couple of years. Maybe, I know some people talked about redshirting, maybe there's a reason they do keep them back. So if you had a more definite number for that first year, maybe that would be helpful. And then our teachers. I'm an educator. I wouldn't want any of our wonderful teachers to feel like this was by any means underhanding them or undermining them. Am I allowed to give a shout out to my daughter's kindergarten teacher? Because Miss Bavard, Jessica Bavard, is magical. There's nothing less than that. She's magical. And I would so be upset if she or any of our wonderful teachers thought this was by any means an intention to make their job more difficult, harder. It's a bigger workload. The first few years of transition are awful, but we support them in that. We know that they care for our children, and I think they deserve the recognition. So although it would be difficult, it's hard to get beyond how much it's appreciated, what hard work they do. So, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Brian Griffiths.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Ryan Griffiths. I am a South Abington Township resident and a parent. I'm speaking tonight to urge the board to act on implementing a full-day kindergarten program in the district. Currently, Abington Heights is the only school district in Lackawanna County without a full-day kindergarten program. In addition, 434 of Pennsylvania's 500 public schools currently run a full-day kindergarten program. 34 more of those districts offer a full-day program on an individualized basis to students with an IEP or who are English language learners. We are one of only 32 districts in the state that does not offer some type of full-day program. Kindergarten students in Lakeland, North Pocono, Scranton, Dunmore, Riverside, Old Forge, Valley View, Mid-Valley, Carbondale, all collectively receive, on average, 540 more hours of instruction than kindergarten students in Abington Heights. At the last board meeting, we spoke about overwhelming need for a full-day program, and we stressed that parents desperately want to see this become a reality. I appreciate the comments from some of the board that we continue to advocate to our state legislatures about more funding for public education and for charter school reform. The good news is our local legislators do favor those proposals. So we're here to advocate directly to you because you are the decision makers. You can take concrete steps to put this plan on a path to reality. And we know that there are upfront costs, but the research shows that full-day kindergarten generates significant returns. In your equity program that you have on the agenda tonight, it cites that there is a 26% poverty rate in the district right now, on average. 26%. Full-day kindergarten students would overwhelmingly benefit, especially those who are facing poverty. Oftentimes, students who have full-day kindergarten have higher achievement rates, which reduces the need for remedial programs or grade retention in later years. Obviously, full-day kindergarten doubles instructional time. It leads to stronger gains in literacy and in math. We have to shift our focus from the short-term cost to the long-term return on investment in our children's education. Dr. Schaefer, you noted at the last meeting that if we were to do something, if the board agreed to this now, it would not be a reality until 27-28 school year. I am here to say, and we are here to say, that that is a timeline we welcome and recognize that it will require difficult decisions. The lack of existing space is a problem, but it's to be solved through strategic planning. It is not an insurmountable barrier to implementing a beneficial program. You were all elected because we believe that you have the fortitude to make difficult decisions. We are asking you to do that now, please, and rest assured that this decision will have numerous benefits for our district and most of all for our students. Thank you.
Julia, I'm guessing you're Kopko, but I didn't want to say it wrong. Sorry.
Hello, everybody. My name is Julia. I live in Clark Summit, and I have a afternoon kindergartner at CSE with Miss Bavard, who is amazing. I also went to CSE when it was renovated and reopened. I was in second grade, so it's a great school. And everybody has already spoken very eloquently on the issue of all-day kindergarten. And I know Abington has always had a long-standing reputation of exceptional academics, which I too benefited from. However, I do think sometimes we focus so heavily on academics, that we miss some of the social emotional aspects of an all-day kindergarten program. Just simply being in the building for a longer period of time at a very young age for young learners will be helpful to them. I also believe that, you know, the vast majority of households contain two working parents, and relying on private childcare in today's economy is simply untenable for the majority of people. I grew up in Clark's Green. I'm raising my family in Clark Summit. It is a wonderful area. I would not want to do it any differently.
Sometimes I do think we are insulated in a financial stability bubble, where I think if we drove, like 6 miles down to Scranton, we would all be like really upset at what we see. So I think sometimes we don't see it, but there is still poverty, like this gentleman just said. And I don't think that it's reasonable in today's world to have to ask people to find transportation in the middle of the day, for it to, affect their working lives, for the majority of people to have private childcare, because of course in Pennsylvania we don't have like state-funded pre-K or anything like that either, so it is incredibly difficult for people. Just as a personal example, luckily I am in a financial position where I do work from home, can work part-time, but even so, this year, like, my career is taking a bit of a backseat because I have to be in the car for my younger daughter in the morning, preschool, my older daughter in the afternoon for pickup. It's just not possible for me to work as much as I normally would. And I think I'm not the only mother. Usually mothers, mostly dads my husband makes more money, so he's going to work every day. So I, have to be the flexible one, which is okay. That's okay. Hopefully, won't always be like that for women. But I just think since most people in this area can provide midday transportation, most people can afford private childcare, doesn't mean that everybody can. And I think as a community, we need to remember that it's not just what you see on a, daily basis of everybody's seems to be doing fine. So thank you for your hard work for our students and community.
Thank you.
Lauren Bevilacqua.
Hello again. It's very nice to see you all. My name is Lauren Runco Bevilacqua, and I'm here as a parent and a community member. This is now the 4th consecutive meeting where families have come forward to ask that full-day kindergarten be formally added to your agenda for discussion. This issue isn't new. Parents have been raising it for more than 20 years. I'm sure it's even longer than that. And during the last board meeting, we heard that it likely could have been implemented 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, but that it didn't happen then. So now it feels like we missed the boat. So it will take a back seat to other priorities. Yet 2 decades later, as you've heard, our neighboring districts have found creative solutions to those same challenges. It's time for Abington Heights to do the same. Since the last meeting, we've continued to organize. We launched a petition to demonstrate just how strongly our community supports this effort. And as of today, 294 residents, parents, grandparents, educators, and taxpayers have signed asking the board to take formal action. At the conclusion of my comments, I'll provide printed copies of the petition for each board member and for official record. Our community also has the capacity to plan responsibly. According to the 2023 U.S. Census Bureau, Abington Heights has the highest median household income in Lackawanna County, about $97,000 annually, and the highest median home value. By the state's own wealth metric, Abington Heights ranks among the most financially capable districts in the region. And this year, we also had a 5.28% property tax increase. Taxpayers have stepped up. Now they deserve to see those investments directed toward priorities that matter, like ensuring every child in this district has access to a full day of kindergarten. We've been consistent and organized in bringing this issue to you. On September 17th, I spoke alongside Kristen Swaha to share the academic, social, and logistical challenges of the current half-day model. We emphasized how it disadvantages dual-working families, urged the board to set a timeline by fall 2027, and suggested evaluating whether this building could be part of the solution. On October 8th, Amy Burge echoed that message, describing full-day kindergarten as a dream that many families still hold on to very strongly. And on October 22nd, Ryan Griffiths, Katie Garrity, and Caitlin Kime spoke powerfully about the educational and equity benefits of full-day kindergarten and the need for real planning and public discussion. At that October meeting, board members responded thoughtfully. Mrs. Tierney said she's been advocating for this for a long time and urged the board to start planning now. She said if we don't start now, we will not get this done, and that this is a priority that should be done before anything else. We also heard from Mrs. Karam and Mrs. Henderson, both sharing their support and also the challenges that still remain. Dr. Schaefer estimated that implementation will require 6 to 7 new teachers and could not realistically begin any time before the 2027-2028 school year. That's a very reasonable timeline. So tonight, our ask is clear. Formally add full-day kindergarten as an agenda item at an upcoming board meeting and follow the appropriate process for approval to keep this moving. Schedule a dedicated public work session to discuss instructional, financial, and facilities options. And adopt a targeted timeline, aiming for implementation by fall 2027 with clear milestones along the way. We're not here to criticize, we're here to partner with all of you. Parents are ready to help with research, data, and outreach. We have a very smart community that wants to make this happen, not just for ourselves, but for others that really genuinely need it. So we simply ask that the board take the next step, formally, transparently, and on a timeline families can plan around. So thank you for your time, for your service, and for your commitment to Abington Heights.
Mr. Stoller. Mark, you're up.
Do we have any more full day K? All right. I
Evening,
didn't want you to
everybody.
ruin the flow.
What's that?
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Mark. He's going to talk finance. I want to hear more full day K. Okay.
Mark Stoller, Waverly Township, Joe taxpayer here. Last meeting, more residents have been coming in about the request for the all-day kindergarten. And Dr. Schaefer gave some detailed, lengthy reasoning as to where he thinks the district is at this point. Your focus, your priorities, the last number of months, you've indicated facilities. And that just didn't come about recently. You have been at the focus of the facilities for months. Maybe years.
Not maybe.
The upgrading of the facilities has been, in my opinion, your number one priority. Not that other needs and wants are important to the district. What your focus has been and what your plan is to upgrade the facilities first and foremost. Last year, during the summer, you completed the borrowing, $10 million. This summer, we completed the borrowing of $50 million. I would think that,
It's 30, then 10.
well, you took 30 of the 50.
Yeah, right, correct.
Okay. I could go out on a limb and think next year, the board will come back to borrow another large amount for the facility upgrades that you have on paper down the road. I have a request and then a comment. My request, Doctor, is to better articulate to the residents who have been coming and have been voicing their need, their want, and you've been direct and have not pandered to these people that have come. And I wouldn't want you to start. But you have your priorities and your focus on the facilities could be better explained to those in the district. When it comes to the facilities, you have a use of facilities report on your agenda. It's lengthy. The facilities in the district are well used and well positioned to accommodate the breadth of this district. It's impressive. But there is one facility that, in my opinion, is underutilized, hardly used. We have roughly 12 acres here. Part of it is the football stadium. Part of it is the old administration buildings. You have this building. With the 60 million that you borrowed in the last 2 years, would we consider putting a dent in that debt service of selling this 12-acre plot with buildings and facilities that we're not using? It's an item for maybe down the road, but not too far down the road. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Should I answer with yes, no questions or answers? I'll do my best to provide a little more detail to some of the comments that I've made over the last 4 years when full day K came up, and certainly, Mark, when we talk about finances and priorities. And I will start by telling you what I have told the board before. We had a retreat, and I took the board through an activity where I talked about trade-offs. I'll skip all the boring pieces. However, as we talked about it, there's one space that becomes really difficult for the board and administrators, is when you have sacred trade-offs. These values, these things, I will call it, that we consider to be sacred. And you never want to get rid of anything that's sacred. And that's part of the definition. You hold it sacred. So it makes it very difficult. And on one hand, we have facilities that are aging, some 660,000 square feet of facilities, over 69 square miles in the Abingtons. And we've been educating students here for over 190 years, and it is our obligation, and it is the mandate of the board to ensure that we continue. In fact, we are obligated to do that, which means that we have to attend to the needs of the facilities. Simultaneously, we have a mission to provide the best education for our kids, and it's really difficult when you have to seemingly prioritize one or the other. So I won't stand up here and say that we will never have full day K. I've told the board that I'm exploring that, and I will give you a little more detail about what that means. So it's not so vague, because it's complex. But I know that you don't want to hear the complex. I want to make sure that I am able to articulate everything that we are doing to consider all these options, while simultaneously as Mark pointed out, trying to finance some very large facilities projects that are needed. It's not a want. We're talking about work that we're doing in our schools that must happen. Otherwise, we're going to be in a position as a board in a community where it's going to get really tough because we didn't attend to those needs. So let me first start with the kind of the exploration of this. I've told the board that in order to even explore this, I have to think about things like enrollment. The average class size in Abington Heights is around 270. There's ebbs and flows there. We've had a couple classes of 300. But as a district, we're very stable. Ms. Bevko-Lacqua pointed out, and I've said this quite a lot, is that we have many protective factors in this community, which make it very stable, in my opinion, statistically. You know, we have familiar with not only the median household income, housing values, education level, proximity to health care, appropriate neonatal care. The list can go on and on, but all those are correlates of positive outcomes in academics and in schools. And that's conventional wisdom. If we took the 500 school district and I ordered them by median household income and then rank ordered their academic scores, I bet we would be pretty close. I'm not going to say they're exact, but these are the types of things that many of you have spoken about that make this community what it is. You are what you value. We value education, right? We value the success of our children, not only in academics, but we want to make sure that we provide them with a well-rounded experience. That's why our arts and humanities and extracurriculars and philanthropic clubs, it's just unbelievable. And that's what makes our kids strong. And that's why I can't say, despite not having the money, that that full day K is completely off the table. But what I can say is that I need to gather a lot of information for not only the board, but the public to see. So I mentioned enrollment, but also the facilities. I've had many people talk to me about this one here. This, in my personal opinion, and I'm collecting data on this, is this building underutilized? I personally don't think you need to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. This was a school that housed approximately 300 students. It was converted in 2001 to a business facility at the cost of about $3 million. That's a lot more money than $3 million in today's dollars as compared to 2000 to turn this right back into a school. But I'm still investigating that because people have asked. Mark, you asked about this. I'm still, as I've said before, exploring the sale. But I'm not going to throw that out to the board without information and data that they can look at. So I will be giving the board and the community, what does this building cost to operate? What are the utilities? What is the sewage? What is the maintenance? What is the 5-year projection for CapEx in this building? So on and so forth. What would we gain if we sold it? What could we reasonably expect for that? What if we leased it? All of these things need to come to the board. I need to weigh in on instructional resources, transportation, food, support services. I told the board that, I'm exploring every option. There's one option that may mean redistricting. that's not popular, and I want to be clear that I'm not saying that let me be really clear. I am not saying we are redistricting. When I provide the board with options, I tell them, these are theoretical options. Some of them may not be practical. Let me give you one that's and again, I want to be careful. This is a theoretical example that I knew was not possible. How about we outsource it? That's an option. I say, we have a half-day K. If you want full-day K, we will subsidize it. And as soon as it came out of my mouth, I said, well, we cross that off because it's illegal. I can't do that in the school code. In Pennsylvania, your job is your property right. I wouldn't do that too. But it's, in theory. So we put that down. All of these things we have to take a look at, cost out, see if they're possible. Here's another. And again, this is what is behind the scenes, that information that I have to gather. A referendum. Really? 2 referendum. One of them may not be legal. So I have that being looked at. This is the same thing that we talked about 3 years ago when we were talking about facility improvements. In 2006, the state legislature passed Act 1, whereas that means that we cannot raise taxes past a certain level. If we want to do that, we have to file for an exception based on 3 things, which have now been taken away from us. Okay? Which leaves the referendum for construction, or I'll call that CapEx. Okay? So that would have to go out to the voters to say, we're going to vote on in a primary, it's usually in May, to raise taxes above the Act 1 threshold by X amount for the purpose of. Okay? I give that example. As I've said before, we don't have the facilities right now. That's the first question. Even if the board said, I want full day K, I would say where? Okay? So working with our architects to say, what are the possibilities for facilities? What might that cost? And then to figure out what that may look like, you could put that on a referendum to say, okay, you put that out there, and I can't think of anything more democratic than that, to put that out and let folks vote on it. But that's putting the cart before the horse, because I have to make sure that we provide all of this information so that we can determine that if the community, let's just say, passed it and said we want to do that, where could it be? Where would it be? I could probably think of a couple examples in my head that would be expedient and very unpopular to certain parts of the community. So I'm telling you all this, I'm being very transparent, that I'm gathering all of this information so that I can have this synthesized and put it out there. I'm not making any judgments on it. That's not necessarily it is my job. But I mean, in this case, it's not necessarily my job. My job is to make sure I provide the board with all of the information so that they can make an informed decision, interact with the public on it. I'm here to provide consultation and recommendations, but that starts with the very information that I give the board. So I want to make sure that we consider everything when we do it. And I'm being very cautious here. I've given some examples, and I haven't given some others because, I know that they're not popular. And again, I want to be clear that when I talk about exploring, I'm writing everything down. And because it's an option doesn't mean it's feasible. I mean, it would have been feasible for this board to say, let's shut down all the elementary schools and let's build a mega school. From my own experience, I know that getting rid of community schools is not very popular. And what I mean by community schools is that's how we started. Clark Summit Elementary services the students of that community. Newton Ransom, that community. Waverly, South Abington, so on and so forth. So these are all things that we need to consider. You know, along with some of the research, and I may not necessarily agree with everybody on how they that represent that research, and that's okay, because that's the purpose of the discussion, but that has to go into play as well. You know, there are reasons why some of the school districts with higher poverty levels have mandatory pre-K or full day K. These are things that you have to consider, particularly when you talk about long-term educational outcomes. So all of that I am working on and getting that out, because at the same time, we are looking at a facility project that, you know, we are working hard to finance. And I sit before you today missing 35% of our budget because the state's lollygagging. I told the board, hey, there's a chance, I don't know what the probability is, that maybe it rains money and then maybe this isn't that much of a problem. I don't think that that's going to happen. But we did receive more funds last year, not as much as I think that we should have, and that other educators in Pennsylvania believe that school districts should have. But once that comes in, that information in our state budget, then the business manager and I will sit down and we will recalculate our financial forecasts and then provide that back to the board, which informs our financial position as we look further out. So those are all the things that need to happen as we consider this. And I'm hoping this doesn't sound too vague, because I want to make sure that I'm answering. If I thought that it was a never thing, I would just tell you it's a never thing. I would say that, but right now we have prioritized our facilities because they have to happen. Like that middle school work has to happen. The work that we're planning, God willing, this summer has to happen at South Abington. I know this building, where I can't even see now, it's so dark, and either front or behind me, the maintenance building right there. We're not putting money in that. That has to go. That's on the shortest timeline. We're not talking about that now, but I've said this publicly, so I don't mind saying it right now, is that our maintenance and facilities, that building's in some bad condition. So we are working on all these things, and I'm not putting anything on the back burner. I'm hoping that this puzzle will become clear later on. And it is a lot of work, and this is what the board wants. They want that information so that we can make an informed decision. So I wish I could give you a really straightforward answer, but that's what I have. Yep. Oh, we have a teacher with their hand raised.
Hi. Just a quick question. Since we're taxpayers and we pay and put money into the district, is there an option for it to be a community shared project of
not the gathering of the information that I'm talking about right now. I would provide that information to the board, and then I would talk to the board about that process. That's not a unilateral decision that I make. I'm a member of the board, a non-voting member. So I provide the board with that information, and we talk about processes and things like that, so.
Will we be made aware of the answers that you find out for this so that the community can continue to talk about full day K, or if we're going to see it in fruition?
Yeah, I'm up here telling you what I'm doing, and I do that in part. I'll hold myself accountable. I'm on YouTube. You can pull it up, because if I don't provide you this information in detail, then there could be a perception that I'm not being transparent, or the board's not being transparent. I think that, like, the data will tell a story. I don't know what that story is. I mean, I'm missing information. So I don't have.
Can I interject?
Sure.
Thank you. I actually, so I use this in my home, take it or leave it, as you will. Supposedly Oprah said it. You can have it all, but maybe not all at once, right? It takes time to be able to accomplish the goals and dreams you have, and sometimes you're on that path and you're not necessarily there. I want to give Dr. Schaefer some credit, because we have been talking about this quite a bit, and when we did prioritize the facility study, which is actually our elected duty to make sure our facilities are safe and upgraded for our kids. If you happen to look on the district website, and I just did this, and you Google facility study, and you pull that up, it actually has, for us, the capacity amounts in the elementary schools and whether or not we could host full-day kindergarten. There's several pages on full-day kindergarten in this facility study. One of the reasons that we prioritized our buildings is if you go up, every building gets a score, and it's one of those tests that the higher the score, actually the worse it is. And our middle school had such a high score that it was, if we do not do something about this now, it's a problem, as Dr. Schaefer alluded to. So we are gathering the information. We actually did talk about putting it on a public board meeting agenda, maybe in the spring. I also want to be mindful that, and this isn't meant to be antagonistic, I'm really glad you're here. I just also see the behind the scenes and how much work it is to run a school district and to keep everything on the rails, and especially with this project we took on. I mean, if you drive down past that middle school and you see all those trucks, we spent a ton of time talking about sewage and drainage, and there's so many things go into these decisions, and I want to, again, keep reminding, we would love to have these things. I think we can get there. I'm not, I don't think it's a no, as he said. I don't think it's a never. But we are trying to balance quite a few things, and I just want to give evidence that this is something we actually talked about 3 years ago, that we actually have this in the what's our capacity, and then to the point about what are we doing with this building, we've been doing a title search, and again, these things take time, and my dad worked in government, and so there's also a slowness to government. So it just takes time to get all of your I's dotted and T's crossed. So again, we thank you for coming out here, and I appreciate Dr. Schaefer's response tonight, and I just want to, vouch for the fact that we've asked him to look into this information, and he has been week by week pulling more information together and talking about when we can get that on the agenda. To the point of the community being a part of that, I do think that's possible, and I think it's a next step. So the board would have to decide, okay, this is something we want to do. We get it together, a committee, and we could have more involvement in that. And so I just think procedurally that's a little bit of the issue. But when we get there, I think we'd all be happy to have as much participation as possible, because it's a lot of work, and many hands make light work, right? So thank you all.
You know, just in terms of community involvement, in terms of the current facilities project, we had 4 public meetings,
Yeah.
4 public meetings at different facilities, asking the public to make input into that project. So this is not something we haven't done before. I have to say, when you look at the financial situation, as Dr. Schaefer said, the first thing we have to do is see what our current budget is and see what we can support. Quite honestly, my current guess is that we have very little room to support any additional financing. I certainly hope we do, but I think any project like this is realistically not in the cards in a couple years. I think because of what's going on now, what's already been started. And I think at that point, we then have to decide what are the priorities for the district. Do we finish out the middle school project because the current project only covers 2 classes, 7th and 8th? Do we do all-day K? You know, how do all these things fit together? So it will be a process. We will be looking for input. I don't think this is going to happen, honestly, from my perspective, where I'm sitting, in the next year or two. We're certainly going to be discussing all these things as we do, but it's a question of trying to set priorities that the district as a whole has. You know, things like every building has the heating and HVA systems that are out of date. They're past their useful life. So what happens if we don't have heating and, the heating in a building? How do we deal with that? So these are all issues we have to discuss in terms of setting the priorities.
Can I just add to that? So I appreciate you all coming tonight, and I said this, I think at the last meeting, like it was on my campaign thing, like I want all-day K too. I think all of us do. And I like what Mrs. Karam said, like it's a matter of timing. And to also answer Mr. Stoller's comment or concern that we should do a better job of articulating the facilities. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure if you maybe haven't been a part of the meetings that we've had, but like we've been, I think, as clear as we can and as public as we can be with the facility study, what it included, what the major projects were that were potentially to be done, and how we were evaluating them and why we chose to pursue the middle school. So, I mean, I'm happy to talk to you offline about that to get you more up to speed, but like we've tried really hard to be as transparent as possible and to include the community by having multiple meetings to invite the community to come in to that process. We have talked about all-day K a lot. Like I don't want you, and then I'm on the board for 5 years, and I've lived in the school district for 15, right? I didn't know what was going on in the school district until 5 years ago, other than my kids, right, and what they were experiencing. Like, and now I've been on the school board for 5 years, and I know a lot more than I probably want to at this point, right? And I live it every day. So I don't know how many of you have been like heavily involved in like what we're actually talking about for like the last several years. Some of you might just be new to really paying attention, because I was new. I'm not saying that to be like, critical at all. It's like everybody's busy with their lives, right? And so if you haven't been involved that much until recently, I just want to assure you, like, we have talked about this extensively. And when we got the facility study back, it was stunning how much work needed to be done in this school district that was not like wants and not like hopes, needs. Like real hard needs in every one of our buildings. The lack of air handling in our buildings. The need for a STEM facility at the high school. Tremendous CapEx needs in all 4 elementary schools. Even Newton Ransom, even though that's a newer building 25 years ago. It has a lot of needs there too. A brand new middle school, top of the list, no doubt. Like if you paid attention to these meetings and to our consultants that we hired, without question, the biggest need that we have. So we had many discussions about what to do, like what do we pursue? And the biggest discussion we had was, do we build a brand-new middle school and do it all? And we couldn't do it. We could have tried to do it, but we actually, even if we had tried to do it, we would have found out that we couldn't access enough capital to do it yet, right? Because our budget actually in the last 2 years, it got a little better recently, but it got a lot worse over the last 3 years because of rising, and we've talked about this publicly, rising special education costs, rising healthcare costs, and rising charter school costs. Tremendous headwinds for the school district that actually would have stopped us had we tried to build a whole middle school at once. The reason also why we decided to only go after a portion of the middle school first was so that we could do some other things. And the things that we constantly talk about are, do we do air handling in all the schools, which is, according to our architect and our consultants, incredibly beneficial to the educational process and needed. Do we fix the systems that are at the end of their useful life, the existing systems? Do we put a STEM facility in the high school? Do we have all-day kindergarten? You know, the list goes on, and we talk about this stuff all the time. I also don't want to give you false hope, and this is just me speaking, and Mr. Acker said it as well. I don't see us doing this in the next few years. I wish we could, and I might be outvoted. I'm only speaking for myself. I will not do all-day K before I finish that middle school, I can tell you that. Because I still go over there and I see these kids in these rooms that are just terrible. So I just can't continue to watch 5th and 6th graders continue to go into that school and put that kind of money, because it's a lot of money to build a facility for all-day K. So I just want to know you to know that we do appreciate you coming, and like we do talk about this stuff all the time. So thank you.
Mrs. Tierney.
Yes, thank you. I think one board member had mentioned timing. Timing is an incredible thing. I want to say at least 4 or 5 years ago, we started this conversations of going back and forth. And I think Mr. Staller had asked some questions about this facility. We had all had major conversation about this facility and have been told, and I'm still waiting for the factual information for the last 4 years of what this building costs, what this usage is, what the price of this could be, what the options are for us board directors to hear from the community and to really look at an opportunity to make a decision on this 14 acres with 4 buildings, with a beautiful field, and make a decision. My time is up. I have one more meeting here. I have been patiently waiting for the factual information so I could be a team player to help this board make a decision on this. And unfortunately, the information hasn't come yet for whatever reason. I'm not blaming anyone. Timing is an incredible thing. So I wish this board well in making the decision on this, a possibility for a good opportunity to make some money, to lessen our debt, to possibly renovate, I don't know. But this has been a very concerning situation for me personally, because I want to help make the right decision for our district for this property, and the information isn't there yet. So I'm unfortunate, not going to be a part of that decision. So, and there's just a lot of issues. So I just really want to say that as I'm ending these last few meetings. Thank you.
Any other comments? We have another question.
Yeah, I just, thank you so much. I wanted to be super clear.
Would you please stand up so we can hear you?
Yes, I want to be so clear. No, not one of us is being critical of the decisions that you're making, right? We know the middle school needs renovations. Our children are going to go to that middle school, and we know they're going to need that, right? So we're not casting that. I'm a little shocked, having grown up in Jessup and have
It was Abington or bust. There was no other option. And we picked here because of the school district, because I grew up in Jessup and in German, and Lakeland, and I went to LaSalle, and I went to Bishop O'Hara, okay? I didn't want to have to send my kids to private school, right? Not because I don't think it's valuable, but because Abington or bust, like that was it for us. And I'm just shocked to hear so much of this. Like, as you said, you're just not familiar with it. You think like Abington, wealthiest school district, so much opportunity, so many people do amazing things that come from this community, and then they come back and they give back to this community, right? Which is all the same things that we want to be able to do and have our children do. And so I'm kind of shell-shocked a little bit of hearing like how bad it got. Like, how in the world did it get that bad, right? Like it's shocking to me. Again, having grown up in Jessup, and having looked at Abington through rose-colored glasses. But I think the other piece of it is that we know there's tough decisions that have to be made. And it's really difficult to rally team to come to these meetings. We had to get childcare, right? Like it's a lot of work to show that we care about this, to find childcare, to make sure everybody ate dinner and we could get here and be here and write remarks and get a petition circulated just because we want to hear from the community. Are we even fighting for something anybody cares about, or is it just us? And 294 people signed that petition, right? And so clearly they care. But also, as that petition was getting shared, you heard the same remarks from people like, good luck. We've been fighting this fight for 30 years. It ain't ever going to happen in Abington. And I'm like, yes, it will. This is the time. We've got a strong group of people that are really intelligent, that are committed to this, and want to take this on. Because we believe that change starts in our communities. We believe that if we come together and we come forward and say this is a priority, knowing that it might not happen tomorrow, right? But just give us something. Give us something. Show that it's not falling on deaf ears. Show that we're coming to these meetings. We should continue to come to these meetings. Because some of the remarks make you feel like we might as well not even come anymore. And I don't want us to be feeling that way. I want us to leave feeling like what we're saying makes a difference. And even if our kids don't benefit from full-day kindergarten, we're not fighting just for our kids. We're fighting for the kids that come next. We want this to be a reality in our district. And I think the main thing I'm saying here is our ask tonight was really threefold, right? One, put this as an agenda item. Two, let us help you. Let us be a part of this with you. We want to be there with you. And finally, just give us a timeline when we can get one, as soon as reasonable, right? Don't tell us it's coming. Give us something tangible that we can hold on to, so that it gives us some hope, and we feel like this is worth it, right? This is a fight that's worth fighting. And it's not even a fight. It's really like, it's a cause worth taking on in collaboration with all of you and the rest of our community. And I think I just wanted to share those bits of information because it makes me feel good to take on something like this with everything that's going on in the world. It feels like we can make a difference in our own community, and this is one way of doing that, but never at any point taking away from the work that you're doing with everything else that needs to be done. Because we know those things need to be done too. So that's all. Thank you.
Couple comments. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your comments very much. First of all, I probably shouldn't speak for the whole board, really for myself, but we certainly understand the desire for all-day kindergarten. I think everyone on this board would say the same thing. From a personal standpoint, I've got a 3-year-old granddaughter. I'd love to see all-day K for her. This board is tasked with educating all the students in the district to the best of our ability. Hard to say. We could go on and on about what happened or didn't happen, and that's in the past. I would direct you to looking at the facility study that's on, and you'll get a better sense of what we're dealing with. And I think this board is going to do the very best job we can to parse out the priorities that we have when we can address them. I just don't want to mislead you. You people have done a wonderful job. You've come here and talked to us. It's great. But I don't want to mislead anybody. Just think that this is going to happen soon. Soon being 2 years or whatever. That would be disingenuous on my part as a board member, and I think the board as a whole. We have to deal with the realities of the situation here. And we're going to do the best we can. I can tell you that when we get to the point where we can do something, we're going to have some very, very difficult decisions. Because again, we have to look at the education of all the students in the district. And all I can say is, what you have done is not gone on deaf ears. We understand the desire, as we all do. And we're just going to do the very best job we can. So. Okay.
All right. At this time, I'd ask the board to approve the personnel report as follows.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Abdallah,
Yes.
Mr. Azar,
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Hillebrand.
Yes.
Mrs. Karam,
Yes.
Mr. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Robeson.
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney,
Yes.
Mr. Acker,
Yes.
9-0.
Mr. Acker, ask the board consider a motion to approve the Abington Heights School District Federal Programs Equity Plan.
So moved. Second.
On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Abdallah,
Yes.
Mr. Azar,
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Hillebrand.
Yes.
Mrs. Karam,
Yes.
Mr. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Robeson.
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney,
Yes.
Mr. Acker,
Yes.
9-0.
Mr. Acker, ask the board consider a motion to approve the proposal for the Teach Town, a social skills programming tool.
So moved.
Second. On the motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Abdallah,
Yes.
Mr. Azar.
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson,
Yes.
Mrs. Hillebrand.
Yes.
Mrs. Karam,
Yes.
Mr. Moran. Mr. Robeson.
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney,
Yes.
Mr. Acker,
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, the next is a notice of the informational use of our facilities. As Mr. Stoller pointed out, it's extensive, and it's a wonderful thing to see. Is there any unfinished business for the board tonight?
I have some
Yes, Mrs.
unfinished
Tierney.
business. Yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit about enrollment. I've been circulating around at other school districts and hearing a significant drop in enrollment. And I'm just wondering, where are we this year? What are our numbers this year?
3370, give or take, 510, either way.
Is that similar to last year? Is that around the same? Is it a drop?
We're gonna fluctuate, it's down, fluctuates, it can fluctuate for a myriad of reasons. So for instance, this year with the K class coming in, I track live birth rates throughout the different zip codes, so I knew that we were in a spot where we were going down. So if you look at that trend line, the charter school numbers are kind of holding where they are. I will tell you, probably from 2020 to 22 to 23, we would have maybe a handful of homeschoolers. So now that number is close to 100. That was a significant hit when taking in the charters. So both of those hit at the same time. Certainly that plays a part in it. We don't get or receive any data from any of our private schools, so I can't determine how many kids go there other than, say, some of the high schools. I'll look at their PIAA classification. I'll see some of them getting into smaller ones, so I'll infer they're dropping enrollment, but I don't know if it's where it's coming from. But this is something that the legislature's taken on. I mean, we've seen increases in charter schools, and yet their performance continues to fall. They've admitted they don't take attendance and so on and so forth. So, it's just one of those things. But yeah, that's about where we are.
And talking with other superintendents, are their enrollments, are they comparable to what we're getting, or are
No,
they dropping more?
Yeah, while I don't talk about specific numbers, what I hear from them and what I can infer about their enrollment is that they're having trouble staying afloat based on the charter numbers, which means that they're losing kids to charters at a greater clip than we are at a higher cost. Even though we put out a lot of money for charters, the surrounding schools within Lackawanna County pay more.
And with the government shutdown still for the state, is our district beginning to see some financial constraints with that?
Not what you can, I'll say it this way. In all the reporting, there are numerous superintendents, including a few of my friends that are now giving dates to close down the school. That may be part of that political process in late January. But what gets us right now, I'm not saying that this doesn't hurt us. This is why we have reserves, right? Which is great. However, we're not investing those reserves, so these shenanigans at the state are losing interest dollars. And we've had significant revenue from interest. So, I mean, I'm optimistic, but I won't believe it until I see this budget.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Is there any new business for the board?
Just a reminder that we have our IT committee meeting next week
Thank you very
at
much.
6:30 Wednesday.
In that particular case, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you very much.